Welcome back to F1 Report, everyone. I hope you all had a nice break from racing because we are about to enter another triple header to round out the season. It will be non-stop from here. We are starting with a traditional race in Bahrain using the same track we are used to over the years. Usually this is one of the races that we visit early in the season, but this year we are visiting it at the tail end of our season due to our COVID hit schedule. I mentioned the track layout specifically because next week's Grand Prix will still be in Bahrain, but we will have a different track layout there. So I just want to call out which layout we are using and when. So this layout, again, is the same one we've been using since 2012. And with it being the track we all know, there shouldn't be too many surprises. We know that the racing will be fast and there's plenty of long straights, and there's also plenty of overtaking spots, more importantly, across the 5.5 kilometer track. We have 3 DRS zones, one leading us across the start-finish straight, and one on the straight between turns 3 and 4. This means that most of Sector 1 is actually covered by DRS zones, so that's going to be fun and it's going to be fast. Final DRS zone is in Sector 2 between turn 10 and 11, and this all means that hopefully we'll see the same close racing that we've come to know and recognise in the previous years at this track. It does seem a bit of a shame coming from such a thrilling wet race to the deserts of Bahrain, taking away all of that uncertainty, but as is standard for the region, we're going to have a warm, dry race under the floodlights at night time as standard. For the tyre setups, Pirelli have made the interesting choice of bringing the same compounds for both the Bahrain and Sakir Grand Prix, despite the two track layouts being different. I'm curious to see how that spices things up. They've also decided to go with the C2, C3 and C4 tyres, which is more like middle of the range and actually softer than we saw last year. So again, very interested to see how they will hold up. Another interesting tidbit is that just for practice this weekend is that Pirelli have brought the C3 tyre for 2021 for testing purposes. So we get to have a look at that as well. Brilliant. As we run this race every year, we can actually have a look back at last year's results and see how much of a difference a year makes. Let's take a look at that now. In 2019, Ferrari dominated qualifying. But it was actually the Silver Arrows that rallied in the race, scoring a 1-2 with Hamilton leading Bottas. In third was Leclerc, fourth was Verstappen, fifth was Vettel, sixth was Norris, seventh was Raikkonen, in eighth was Gasly, who was in the Red Bull at the time, ninth was Albon, who was also in the Toro Rosso at the time, and finally in 10th was Perez. A few surprises in there. Obviously we have much stronger Renaults and Racing Points in particular this year to shake things up in that top 10. Overall, Vettel sits as the current track champion with 4 wins, but that win last year did move Hamilton up to 3. So could he tie it this year? Who knows? Ferrari are also out in the lead on the Constructors' wins with 6 over Mercedes 4 currently. Of course, things are a little different this year, so let's take a look at the results from our last race in Turkey, and what a fun race that was. In first and securing his 7th world title was of course Lewis Hamilton. In second we had Perez, and in third we had Vettel. Leclerc was in 4th, 5th was Sainz, 6th was Verstappen, 7th Albon, 8th was Norris, 9th was Stroll, and 10th was Ricciardo. So of course, both champions have been crowned in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, but there is still plenty to play for, especially in that Constructors' Championship for 3rd place. That battle is so thrilling right now. Let's take a look at that Constructors' Championship table, shall we? In first, we have the champions, Mercedes, on 504 points. In second, and sitting comfortably, is Red Bull on 240 points. And then, jumping up 2 places to 3rd place, is Racing Point on 154 points. Holding consistent and steady is McLaren in 4th place on 149 points. And dropping down those 2 places to 5th is Renault on 136 points. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, comes Ferrari, rapidly catching this pack up, now with 130 points in 6th place. Now we have AlphaTauri sat in 7th, all on their own on 89 points, no one around them. And a long way back we have Alfa Romeo on 8 points, Haas on 3 points, and Williams still on 0 points. We now have a 4-way battle for 3rd place. Massive props to Ferrari for being able to jump into that fight. It's going to be a wild final 3 races. In the drivers' standings, we of course have our champion Hamilton. I've given him a little crown now too. He's on 307 points. In 2nd, we have Bottas on 197 points. In 3rd, Verstappen on 170. Jumping up 2 places to 4th is Perez. He's now on 100 points. He leapfrogs Leclerc, who stays in 5th are now on 97 points. Falling 2 places is Ricciardo on 96 points. He's now down in 6th. In 7th is Sainz on 75 points, who swaps places with his teammate Norris, who is now in 8th on 74 points. In 9th is Albon on 70 points, and 10th Gasly on 63 points. This is the usual point where I'd tackle news, but honestly there just isn't a lot of big confirmed news coming out in the last couple of weeks. That's kind of normal for the end of the season, but I do imagine there will be a lot of speculation from the media at the track surrounding drivers and where they will be next. Drivers such as Albon and Perez. Perez has basically come out and said it's Red Bull or bust for him, which seems to confirm he won't be in a Haas for next year, so there'll be a lot of Perez Red Bull talk, I imagine, this weekend. There's also other speculation, such as whether Toto Wolff will stay on as team principal at Mercedes, and of course the status of Hamilton's contract for next year and his potential knighthood here in the UK as well. That really just leaves my driver and team to watch, and for my team to watch, I'm gonna go with Ferrari this week. They've quietly snuck up on the pack and are now pouncing on that 3rd place. Could they do it again this weekend? That's what I want to find out. For my drive to watch, I will pick Sergio Perez this week. He had a great race last time out, and he's clearly racing for his career right now, so I want to see if he can keep up the good work he's been doing. Are you guys looking forward to Bahrain? Who are you keeping an eye on now that the championship has been won? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.